Okay, we got that. Uh, okay, let me start out with some experiments that I've been doing. So can you see a collage of images right now? What do you see from me right now, Tom?
Leave us. Just
What's
entire
that?
screen of leave us.
Divas?
Yeah,
Levi's.
leave us.
Okay. All right. So there's 8 pictures I think you see right now. Is that correct?
No, just one, the girl, and very
Just
Oh,
clean.
one.
just one.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got to reshare them. Okay, hang on. Okay. Um, okay. So right now you should be seeing 8 pictures. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is some experiments that I've been doing. This was with version 2.1 of Stable Diffusion. And it's a bunch of pictures with African American women with sunglasses and so forth. And so this worked out pretty well in Stable Diffusion. The thing that I found that I had to avoid was eyeballs, which always come out screwed up, and also hands. So I don't have any eyeballs, fortunately, and the only hands I have are this robot hand right here, and who knows how many fingers this robot hand has. Uh, when I show human hands, they may be 6 fingers and all kinds of crazy things. I have women with 3 legs. So that's, one of the properties of the Stable Diffusion stuff is that it does all these crazy things. And you can see that if I scale this up, these were originally created at, I think, 786 by 786 pixels. And I can scale these up pretty well. So this is just basically 1024 scaled up to whatever this is with the text on the screen and so forth. But there are limits to what you can do with this kind of thing. With all of the image generation, generative image generation things that you see, it's somewhere between 512 pixels and 2K pixels. If you run it locally on your own machine, instead of running it in the cloud, you can do 2K pixels. But that is very small. I mean, you're talking about a quarter of a megapixel camera to a 2 megapixel camera. And if you're doing serious professional work, you would never shoot with a camera that had that low of resolution. Even a cell phone will give you 12 megapixels, and a regular camera, a professional camera, would be somewhere between 24 megapixels and 60 megapixels. So, hi Darius, we're talking about generative AI images right now. So, any professional camera will give you 24 to 60 megapixels, and what we're seeing here is what you're normally getting from generative AI is between a quarter megapixel and 2 megapixels. So you would never use that to really shoot a professional photo shoot. So let me show another example here. This I did on a site called Crayon, which uses Stable Diffusion. These images were all influenced by the Egyptian queen Nefertiti. And so this is on crayon. These are 512 by 512 pixel images, so a quarter of a megapixel, scaled up. And what you see in these images, can you see my cursor?
Yes.
You can, okay. So in all of these images, the eyes need to be corrected. I have not corrected the eyes for any of these images, but they all need correction of the eye images. The eyeballs never look quite right, especially as you look at them more and more zoomed up.
Looks like
And
they are aliens and trying to
yes,
hide
yes,
something.
yes, they all need to be corrected. I've done a little bit of editing that I'm not showing here, but they all need that. Teeth, if they show teeth, those need to be corrected. Like right here, you only see one of her two front teeth.
That is teeth.
Yeah, yeah, there's only one tooth shown here instead of two. So they all need that kind of correction. But it's interesting though to look at this. Nefertiti was, you know, an historical beauty. There's a bust that was found in Egypt of her, long nose, long thin neck.
Is that elongate head something?
Yeah, sort of. She had sort of an elongated head. I think this is the one that's probably closest to the bust of her that was found in Egypt. And you can see that
How do you create the images?
what I did is I just used a text prompt to create a pen and ink set of images and, you know, of a beautiful woman and so forth. And at the very end, I put in comma space Nefertiti. And whatever you put at the end seems to influence the images quite a bit. And that was the case here. Now we can see here, they softened her features a little bit. The nose is not quite as long. On this side, the nose is not quite as long. And where they soften the features, it makes her look more vulnerable. It makes her, it adds sort of emotion to the image. And so anyways, I thought it was very interesting, but the images have that drawback of where you have to edit the eyes and edit any teeth. There's no hands being shown here. So it's clear that these images need editing. So let's.
If you use AI to generate and human edit, can the work belongs to yours? Like you can put copyright on the image?
Well,
or
that's
you
very
can-
interesting. Now I put a copyright notice on these. Maybe the laws will change someday. But right now, if you try to file for a copyright on AI generated images, they supposedly won't give it to you. And so I put it in there just in case the laws change. The way I look at it is that an argument could be made for copywriting these images in the sense that it takes some skill to create these. You have to come up with a prompt. And in this case, I've made it very customized because I've based them on the look of a particular person. And so maybe someday you will be able to copyright this stuff. I think, you know, this has to sort of churn through Congress and churns through the legal system and so forth. But it's a very interesting question. And let's see what I've got here. I've got another interesting example. Now, this was interesting because I wanted to create, the prompt for this was basically, I'm creating an alien that has two yellow eyes and one smaller red eye, and with 6 tentacles covered with suction cups. And
we still see woman. Are you
oh, you're still
intended
seeing
to?
the woman. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so hang on. Let me see if I can fix that. What do you see right now? One image?
The
Or do you
woman.
see
woman's 6.
Ju- 6, okay, so let me see if I,
You probably need
It's
to
about
reshare.
8 images.
8. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
okay, so what are you seeing right now? Those same images of the woman?
Yes. You probably need to reshare it. It's just
I guess I do.
Yeah,
Okay,
same. Jim. Yeah.
let's stop sharing.
I share a region of the screen under advanced, then I know whatever's on like one side of my monitor is being shared.
It's all in the same application, which is sort of weird. So hang on. Okay, hang on. Okay. Now I got that white screen again. Okay, hang on. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Okay. Now you should see like 28 weird organisms.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, good. So the interesting thing about this is I gave it a prompt that said, I want to create an alien with 2 yellow eyes and one smaller red eye, 6 tentacles covered with suction cups. And I gave this to Stable Diffusion 2.1 and it just would not give me anything, basically. I gave it to the Crayon website, which I believe is based on Stable Diffusion 1.5, and all that gave me was image after image of just 2 eyes. And then I gave it to Stable Diffusion 1.0 and it created all this stuff. So this was the only one that worked. And it was interesting how these different versions of the program performed in different ways. And right here, you see these,
Sure, I understand.
oh, Siri is, I've got all these automated things going on at the same time. Siri is trying to talk to me now for my watch. So I've got this image of 3 little alien creatures here, and they sort of look, you know, warm and fuzzy and everything. And then if you look at that one in detail, are you seeing it in detail right now? One image of the
don't-
3 creatures? Just one
Uh-huh.
image? Is that what you're seeing?
no, it's a lot of images.
Oh, geez,
It's the same number.
that's the same problem. Okay, I'll reshare. Geez, I'm in the same application. And share. Those warm fuzzy creatures are not warm and fuzzy.
No,
They have some pretty vicious looking teeth. You
Oh,
did see
yes.
the image of the 8 Nefertiti's, is that correct?
Yes, very cute little sea creatures, something.
Yes, with vicious teeth. So anyways, it was interesting that one prompt generated all those different creatures. So I'm going to switch now to my browser. So let me share that. Let's see. Okay. Going between all these different screens. Okay, do you have an article there called Your Diversity Doesn't Count? You're
Yes.
seeing an article? Okay. All right. So this is interesting how all this stuff is developing. Your diversity doesn't count. Levi's AI models prompt anger, but the denimwear label says they're not a substitute for real action. And so this is an AI generated model wearing some of their clothes. And so instead of hiring a diverse model, they just made this up. Instead of hiring a photographer to shoot her, they made this up using AI. And so it's polarized a lot of people, you know, saying you want to be diverse, but you're not hiring the models, so they aren't making any money and so forth. So that's an interesting case. The image looks, we're not seeing it in much detail. It looks okay. And then we go to Vogue magazine. So you should be seeing the Vogue article right now, correct? So this is a Vogue Singapore cover. And will AI models put human ones out of jobs? Experts are divided. So here's another case where you're not hiring the models, you're not hiring the photographer. The image doesn't look so great to me. I mean, I'm a photographer myself. I've shot actually models that have been in Vogue and Chanel models and Maxim models. When I look at this image, I don't particularly like the lighting. The teeth look odd. The eyes look odd. The irises of the eyes look odd. So that isn't the greatest example. But we've got some other images here in the article. This image, I don't know. I've looked at a lot of Vogue covers. I like Vogue. They've got fabulous photographers. This is okay. This image is more interesting, I think. I like the composition. I like she's got some weird stuff on her pants here. There's some faces on the pants, which I think are sort of interesting. She's got her handbag and the license plate is sort of coming out of the handbag. I guess you got to obscure the license plate, right? She doesn't look real to me. She
Yeah,
looks,
the nose. Yeah, those three.
yeah, if you've ever used the program Poser, this reminds me a lot, like you say, the nose, it reminds me a lot of a Poser model. So it doesn't quite look real to me. So it's interesting. They're trying to go mainstream with these things. This was made in June of 2022. The technology has improved since then, probably dramatically. But again, we're seeing some artifacts of the technology. This is about AI Imager Midjourney 5 stuns with photorealistic images and 5-fingered hands. So they say that they've improved the hand issue so that now you get 5 fingers instead of like 6 or 7. The eyes supposedly are better. This image certainly looks good. I like this image. There are some examples. I don't know about these, but they have some examples where this looks pretty good. But we're not seeing a lot of detail here. We're not really seeing the eyes. We're not seeing hands.
Oh, can you send the, I don't know, feedback for if the AI didn't generate well? Are you like, how do you help the
What you can
Midjourney
do
to-
is, for example, let's say that if I use Stable Diffusion 2.1, I get 4 images on the screen. And then you can pick one of those images as feedback, basically. And then you can draw a new set of 4 images based on that image's feedback. And then you get gradually better and better images. So, for example, if you're trying to get a face that looks like a particular person, you can do that and you will gradually end up with that person's face. I had a cat that I had when I was growing up, and it's a particular type of cat, a Maine Coon cat. And so I clicked on the faces and I gradually got closer and closer to the face of my old cat until I couldn't tell the difference. It could have been the same cat. Probably the details of the markings and so forth were different, but as far as I could tell, it looked exactly like my cat. So you can gradually get better and better results that way. And so it's pretty impressive that you can do that. And I have not tried out Midjourney yet, the new version of it. It had just come out when I was playing with this stuff. They just eliminated their free trial accounts. So I would have to pay, I think, $6 a month or something like that to get it. So I haven't done that yet, but I'd like to try it out and see how much better it is. So anyways, now we get into the legal aspect of things. Getty Images, this article is from January, but Getty Images sued the company behind Stable Diffusion. and saying that the AI generator illegally scraped its content. Now, this is a big issue. You know, that's goes into the copyright issue. Can you get a copyright on these images if they're being scraped from other images? What if the image that you end up with looks surprisingly similar to one of the Getty images, for example? You know, that's a problem. That's a legal problem. And so this is a big deal. So what is the solution to all of this? We come up with a solution. Adobe and NVIDIA AI imagery systems aim to resolve copyright questions. So what they've done is, for example, they've worked out an arrangement with Getty Images so that Getty gets paid if they use the Getty images in the AI generative images that you produce using, for example, Photoshop. So they've added this capability into Photoshop. This stuff is happening so rapidly. This is March 21st, this article, and where it announces this stuff. I have Photoshop. I have the Photoshop $9 a month plan. And I guess I have to download the latest version of Photoshop, which I just installed, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something. So I'll have to go in and try it out. So they have their own stock imagery, plus now they're licensing the Getty imagery. And you can, I guess, sign up for this program. And if they use your images, then you get paid through this program. So that's very interesting. I think we're starting to see the way that this stuff is going to end up. I think we're seeing the migration to systems that are sustainable from a legal standpoint. The question is still, can you get a copy? If you generate one of these images and use it with your own brand, can you get a copyright on it? And the answer is still no, because it states in the law that a human has to generate these. So if you're using generative AI software to generate these, it could be said that a human is not generating them. So
I have a question.
yes.
This morning, I just saw one of my friend, David Sign. He is getting a surgery, brain machine interface from Neuralink.
You're kidding.
Yeah, this is super cool. Yeah,
Really?
he just post. He is in hospital and the head is all shaved, and he's about to receiving the implementation from Neuralink. So it means that he will put the chips inside his brain.
Is
That
that
is
one
the
of the,
correct. Yeah, go ahead.
is that one of the companies that Elon Musk is investing in? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
And he will be the early adapter to become a Cyberman. So in this case, if human and machine become together, then
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, although what's the difference between you activating this through
Your
neural
brain?
impulses and through your hand and a mouse or whatever, you know? What are they essentially the same thing? That's a very interesting question. Very interesting. I wish him luck. Maybe you can bring him in to give us a talk sometime. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, he will be one of the mentors in X-Reality Academy. But anyway, it just reminds me that if a human and machine become together,
That's very interesting.
Then I don't know. I'm confused.
Okay, let's see. Let me get back to my browser on my screen. Okay. So I think we're starting to see the direction in which these things are headed. I think another thing is going to happen as well, and that is, I think there's a beta version of Stable Diffusion where you can do this now, where you can sort of add your own images privately to your Stable Diffusion session. So I can see where that would be appealing for a photographer. So you might do a photo shoot where you shoot a model, and then you want to add some special effects to that model, and using Stable Diffusion, but you don't want to take those images, the model's images or your resulting images, and throw them into the pool. And so this would give you a way to run run Stable Diffusion, perhaps even locally, and do the effects yourself with your own models, images, excuse me, and not run into any problems where your images go out into the wild and then get used by Stable Diffusion in general. In fact, I think this is going to be a pattern where we're going to see this with ChatGPT as well, where you're going to have your own private copy of ChatGPT, for example, work running on your own local computer and generating your own results without having all of your session and everything sent back out into the cloud, and you know, perhaps end up in other people's generative AI sessions and all that stuff. I think you're going to start to see this where you're bringing this in-house and being able to do things in-house. So I think that is a trend.
Darius has questions. Do you want to
Yeah, go ahead.
yourself?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Darius.
Thanks. I just had to find the right button. My brother is asking, since we're talking about XR and VR, is anyone working, or have you heard of anyone working on generating actual VR experiences?
Generative AI offer, right? We have a speaker event next week.
Yeah, next week, our invited speaker may be talking about that.
Okay.
We'll have to see
makes
how
sense.
far his company has gotten. He's working.
Yeah.
They're working on
Yeah, he
now.
estimate April 8th. The feature will come out, but we are not sure. We need to make sure that
it.
actually in GDC offer called me and we want to meet up, but you know, it's just like the timing is not right. But I think it seems like he has confidence. Yeah. But
Have you heard from him recently?
oh, during GDC, yeah. I mean,
Oh, okay.
we just talked over the phone, but I mean, there are a lot of generative AI happening in GDC, for example, like a music generation or voiceover. For example, you can type a text and it will
Right.
generate game voice
Right, right.
because it's just a little harder, or it takes a lot of time to find a right voiceover person. And
Yes.
in game, it has different types of characters, and it really kind of takes a long time to find the right people to contribute their voice. And then with the software, I saw one software which you just type text like, oh, yeah, this forest is dangerous, da 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 da, right? And then you have like a drop down, and then you can select what types of person, and you can even select accent. Yeah,
You can even do yourself. You can give it it'll ask you to say a series of things to the computer, and then it will create a new voice based on yourself.
yeah.
So it's very interesting. I went to a seminar on that. It's a very interesting technology.
Yeah, and also in GDC, there are some softwares. For example, like one of the Unity plugin. I forgot the name, but it has all the trees possibilities that can be generated and randomized by inside the Unity scene. So yeah, I think he's gone, but
Okay.
okay, let's go.
Okay. ChatGPT is notoriously bad at math. Anyways, there's a plugin now from Wolfram Research that adds to its math capabilities. So that's a plus. Tech leaders sign open letter calling for pause on AI development. This is very interesting. You know, the thing that strikes me, you're seeing a picture of Elon Musk right now, right?
It's supposed to be pro, right? Pro for every cool stuff, but he's stopping, which is, yeah.
You know, what's interesting to me is the eyes don't look right in this image.
You mean he's a reptile man?
I don't know. But the eyes don't look right to me. But anyways,
oh my God.
so hopefully this is really Elon Musk, you know, signing this letter. Tech leaders sign open letter calling for pause on AI development. They want, see, it comes down to remaining in control of systems that are very powerful, maybe more powerful than we are, says one signer. We don't know how to control these models or how to exploit them fully. So they want a 6-month pause on development of powerful AI models. I guess there was a video. I didn't see the video. I saw an article, but then they didn't show the video of Will Smith eating like raw spaghetti or something. And I went to the website where you can supposedly generate these videos and tried to generate one, but it ran on for like an hour and a half and it didn't do anything. So it said it was working, but it didn't do anything. So I don't know what that was about. Maybe it was a virus or something. I don't know. But anyways, so they want to pause development for 6 months. But how are you going to make that happen? I mean, let's say you pause it in the United States. Well, it's going to continue to be developed around the world. So it's almost impossible to pause it. And what are you going to do? Just tell the developers to go home and sit on their hands? I don't know. They want to, heavily regulate all of this. If you do any AI research, it has to be regulated. How do you come up with that? It's 6 months? How do you get Congress to do anything? It's agree on anything in 6 months?
Yeah, have you seen that Congress grill TikTok CEO? And the question is really hilarious.
Really? I didn't watch.
One of the question is that, the congressman asked the CEO of TikTok and said that, so you mean that if I download TikTok, it will automatically link to my Wi-Fi, right? And that Wi-Fi can access to my phone. Everybody was making fun of the congressman. They asked something really, I don't know, it's just like a common technology, and they are trying to ask a lot of questions and trying to understand what's going on with the current technology.
Yeah.
So so the AI might be too high level for them.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch and it scares me a little bit if they were to come up with regulations on such short notice. I mean, we don't know the extent of these technologies right now. I'd say do not put your life in the hands of an AI system. And that includes self-driving cars, which Elon Musk is doing right now, right? So I don't know. The whole thing seems a little strange to me. I mean, would you want the plugin for doing math in the ChatGPT to not exist? Would you rather have the inaccurate math? I don't know. It's I don't know. So anyways, it's sort of a survey there of the state of generative AI and sort of a response to that from Elon Musk and a lot of other researchers, I guess. It's Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, things like that. So that's my news for the day.
Cool. Kyle, do you want to share anything? I think AI is an interesting topic. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. But I don't have anything new this week. But you can go ahead, though.
Okay.
But interesting articles, Jim. I like the ones with African American. It was like the Unreal Engine or something, like a game. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, Dom, you can.
Okay.
continue.
Yeah, I'm going to share a series of things that I kind of been seeing the phenomena recently. The first one is the tale of two housing markets. Prices fall in the West while the East booms. It's interesting that before West, San Francisco or Los Angeles, Seattle, always have a really high rate of pricing of the house. But now it seems like everybody run over to the East. Why? Because according to the article, it says that probably because of the tech recession. So everybody kind of start going to the East. And then Florida, long time ago, it was more Austin, right? Texas, Austin. But Florida right now is the new Austin. It's like people start buying houses in Florida. And so you can see Miami get like a 12% pricing higher. And you see San Francisco is the Epic Center, San Jose. Yeah, where
So you're in the right place. Has your rent gone down?
no, I should came here a little late because when I was renting was the high, yeah, it was last year. So yeah, I didn't get advantage of all those, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, but it's just interesting to see that the housing start reflecting the economy system, right? And it doesn't really mean that really reflect, but for example, like people still can work remotely. So which means that before the overpricing in San Francisco, Seattle, San Jose, now people start feeling that, oh, I can work remotely, or since there are not many jobs or yeah, tech activities over there, they move to the east. So the east real estate booming. So this is the first thing. Any interesting observations?
Well, I wonder how transient this is, or, how long this will last. It's
Yeah.
interesting though.
Yeah, just everybody run to the east. Okay.
Well, it has an impact on, I would think, on this sort of glut of space for businesses. There's a lot of business buildings that have a lot of vacancies right now. So, and they're thinking of, converting those to living spaces and so forth.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Elon Musk, he supposedly sleeps under his desk. So I guess you could convert your business space really quickly that way.
I remember I saw news that Elon Musk is going to build a huge town and build a lot of houses for the dormitory or to rent for SpaceX, Tesla, all his company's employees, and get a cheaper rent and have all the most advanced technologies like the staff town. It reminds me of the old medieval, right? There is a castle and there's a king, and all the territories inside that castle belongs to the king. So it's
Yeah. I saw a movie, I don't remember the name of it, about an AI development project. And it was one of these singularity type of things where the CEO or something put like uploaded himself into AI, and I think he died at that point. He just existed as an AI, and he built this town, or he went to an existing town and sort of took over. And
is that Johnny Depp, the actor, the main actor, Johnny
it
Depp.
might have been, I don't
Yeah.
recall.
I remember that Johnny Depp can kind of use his mind to control which part and kill the so-called his enemy.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
part
They
of
had like a
the
big,
factory.
they had a big
Solar
big
system?
field of solar panels.
Yeah. I think that might be the movie, but it's very interesting to see that the world becomes like that, and especially this morning I saw my friend David Sai like doing the early adapter to do the surgery for Neuralink. I feel interesting. Ooh.
Yeah. Very interesting.
So yeah, so this is what I see. First one, and second one is, oh, this one is a little serious. Americans are losing faith in college education. So before, we all know that everybody wants to get in college, get to the most expensive one, and after they graduate, they can get the invest of return, right? But a lot of people start finding that during pandemic, maybe a lot of in-person work got eliminated.
and they start trying to figure things out, maybe online education or something. So they start having less faith about the traditional college. So you see, like 2023, more people think it's not worth it, 56% versus the people who believe it, 42%. So if you see this, man, worth it. You see, like according to even gender, age, people start thinking about the traditional college education is not worth it. Because after graduate, you still need to pay the debt, right? And what if you couldn't even pay off your debt? Yeah, so I can see all this, you spend so much money to pay off your tuition, but after you graduate, can you pay off your debt on time, or you will stuck into your college debt forever? Yeah, so and you see like tech recession, right? You see like violence, right? Just like what you said that, oh, right now people can use AI to generate image, photographer, right? Or artists. They study in college for 4 years, graduate, and trying to get a job. And in GDC, I can see, like they have a panel, which is for speed dating for recruiter and job seeker. As far as I know, that all the game design major or related major students are lined up, like thousands of them in GDC, like the second floor. Everybody is there, all the young graduates, and they print out their resume, they print out all their work, stand on the line and trying to get a job. And there was, as far as I know, because I knew one of the girls, she was trying to get a job. And for me, I'm always in the expo session. And for students, they are in the second floor, they are trying to seek for jobs. And interestingly, downstairs, all the experts, not many people are hiring. And people even are reducing staff just because of the AI automation and for example, one of the plugin in Unity, they save thousands of monies just to hire a full-time really expert animators to animate the facial expression or the rigging for the AAA games. So you see, all the AI plugins are reducing staffs, reducing the cost productions. While upstairs, everybody are trying to find a job. And according to my understanding, in a room, probably around 1,000 people, there's only one recruiter, and that recruiter is not even recruiting anybody. So people from Texas, from New York, everybody from every state was there trying to find a job. Everybody, and I was in one of the speed dating, because XRD Academy, and then I find out everyone is kind of like not really know what to do, because the traditional education is kind of disconnect with the reality right now. We overproduce a lot of only one or two specialties. But I can see like downstairs, there are so many university students. They partner together. Like for example, 8 people partner together, launch a game, and they register LLC. They try to form a company, their own. And I can see like 1 or 2 students who create the entire game or create an entire system and trying to sell. In some stands in Expo, I feel like if you want to get a job or want to get paid, maybe start your own thing, and downstairs is better than go upstairs trying to fight and get that small offer. So
I think from what I'm seeing with the students is they need to do projects, their own projects, and put it on their CV, and then they will give them a better chance of getting a job. I seen it from experience because I made projects and sent it to the company and all, and the company was so. That's the only way they're gonna try and get in, with the recession is just do like self-taught work and do a projects, like stuff like that. And Yeah, I mean, that's the only way they can like try and put themselves in. I know the AI is taking over, but they just have to keep on doing like side projects and then eventually they can get there from my experience. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So
Well, I think this article highlights a huge problem. And that problem is, for some reason, education has become just incredibly expensive when we have at the same time all this technology to make it less expensive. So the marginal cost of adding a student is almost zero. Yet they charge you a fortune that you have a heck of a time paying off. It used to be that the University of California system was almost free. So if you were a resident of California and you wanted to get a degree at UCLA, for example, it cost almost nothing. But nowadays it costs a fortune. And so you go to college, you build up this huge debt, and then you've got to try to pay it off afterwards. And if you happen to hit the job market when there's a lull in employment, then you're in trouble. How are you going to pay this debt? So I think that's something that Congress needs to address. I think that's something that the government needs to address. Why is education so expensive when it could be so inexpensive? And so I think that's a major issue. And one of the problems is, if you have a less educated population, then you're not going to do as well. You're not going to be as technologically advanced, which means your economy is not going to work as well. You're not going to be, as a population, as good at making decisions, whether it comes to electing leaders or making decisions on ballot initiatives or whatever. You're just not going to be as good if your population is less educated. So, in my opinion, we want the population to be educated. We want people to have as many options as possible. And so this high cost of education is just a huge problem. And I think it's something that the government needs to address, and they're not addressing.
Yeah, I think right now the tech firm or all the company are laying off people and cutting off the salary and bonus. So, which means that the higher education price is no longer served for this world.
Right.
Because once they graduate, they won't receive the high pay as it used to be before. And the company doesn't need that many people. So there will be huge amount of people who graduate, get a serious debt, and then couldn't find any offer. So, which means that college price need to reduce, and also maybe the entire structure of getting a job, these types of mindset need to change as well.
Well, I think a lot of people say, well, is AI going to eliminate a lot of jobs? I think it'll eliminate some jobs, but like going back to the example with Vogue, for example, them taking their cover shot and generating that with AI. When you look at those photographs, those images from Vogue, they've had some of the best photographers in the world shooting for them. And, when you look at the AI generated photo and the lighting doesn't look right and it doesn't look sharp, I mean, that is exactly what their photographers know how to do so well. And so I don't think it really replaces those photographers. But in any case, when you talk about AI eliminating jobs, it's automation eliminates jobs, but it creates a lot of other jobs because there are people who need to develop automation. And so, that generates a whole set of new jobs. And I think that that's all shaking itself out right now. There's so much development going on, so much change occurring right now that we're trying to figure that stuff all out right now. So it's a disruptive technology, and with disruption, it sort of changes the equation of all this and eliminates some jobs, but generates a lot of new jobs. So I think, you know, society is adapting to that, but we can't make education so expensive. It's just way too expensive the way it is right now. I've got 3 degrees myself, and a couple of graduate degrees. And if I was to do that in this environment, it would be very, very expensive. So
Yeah, and
I think
right
it's a
now,
problem.
AI eliminate the intern and the junior position of the companies, and also partial of the senior position of the companies. Why? Because AI pretty much take over all the mediocre's work, right? Because for example, it can structure something real fast. For example, like when I use AI to write ChatGPT to write code for Unity, I wrote like, oh, create an inventory system for me. And within 5 seconds, it generates a really good structure according to my game.
Uh-huh,
And it might take an intern probably 1 or 2 days to figure out the structure, right?
uh-huh.
So intern, junior can be eliminated by AI chatbot or AI automation. And plus, before, for example, a company hire 5 interns, 5 juniors, and 3 seniors. And since intern and junior position kind of got replaced, then before 3 seniors, half of their job was training juniors and interns or taking care of interns. Now it's gone, so they only need 1 or 2 seniors. They don't need 3. So it seems like all the companies is reorg by the automation. So yeah,
But then again, it doesn't generate perfect code. And so, you know, what about doing research to make that code better that it generates? And-
for example, like I do coding, right? And I have a Unity mentor. He do coding as well. He use ChatGPT. The way he use is much more efficient than me because he asked the right question. And for me, I ask somehow right? So I'm the mediocre. I wouldn't say mediocre, but compared to him, I'm not computer science background. So the code that I generate couldn't really scale, but the code, he know exact what code he needs. So I would say senior will be easier to usage this technology. And while
I think that's a great example. And if I was developing ChatGPT, I'd be wondering, can we build that into it somehow? So that everyone can do it more efficiently, not just the guy who knows better. Maybe there's some prompting modifications that we can make in an automated fashion that make it work better for generating code. So that is a job that's generated right there for someone to figure that out. That's one of the issues with generative systems like ChatGPT is they make so many mistakes. They hallucinate so many things. And you know, how do you make that better? For example, the Mathematica or the Wolfram plugin that I mentioned, that makes that better. So there's a lot of work to be had in creating those types of things, perhaps new plugins, perhaps a programming plugin for Unity or for other programming languages, for example, that allow it to generate programs at your request in a much more efficient and accurate way. So there's all kinds of technology that could be developed. Now, should we pause for 6 months instead of developing that technology? No, I don't think so. Let's develop it now.
I truly think because Elon Musk is being kicked out or left OpenAI, and now he's trying to come up with another startup to beat OpenAI. So he won't kind of pause a little bit. That's my thought.
Well, that's a interesting speculative idea. But
But I mean, he's such an interesting person, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's just huge opportunities to improve these things and make them more effective and more useful and increase people's productivity. So I think there's a lot of jobs to be added to do these types of things. So we're figuring that all out right now. In fact, I have a class on transformers this afternoon, and that's been a very interesting class. And so there's a lot of work going on there. In fact, I asked during the transformers class, we were going over ChatGPT and how transformers are used in that. I asked, this is such, the way that it learns mathematics is so inefficient. Isn't there a better way to do that? Can't ChatGPT figure out when it's in over its head with mathematics and call something else that's more proficient at mathematics? And the girl who was running the seminar said, yeah, you could do that. And Wolfram just did it. So there's all kinds of plugins that I think that are going to come into play to add more effectiveness there, so there might be a coding plugin that you add to ChatGPT for a fee, and it will help you to write programs more efficiently. So I think there's just so many opportunities for this kind of stuff. And they have an API that you can access. So, there's all kinds of, like Kyle said, if you're a student, write a plugin for ChatGPT that makes it code more efficiently, and send that in as an example of your work. Boy, you'll get a job pretty quickly if you do that, I think.
If you're innovative, you don't have the college degree.
Yeah,
Just come up with that kind
that
of
will help to
innovation.
pay off your college degree. And then maybe in the meantime, Congress can make it less expensive to get a college degree.
Yeah. I mean, Elon Musk dropped out of college. He was learning physics and economics, and that's when he started PayPal. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
and
and-
Mark Zuckerberg as well.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I feel like people who do great things are not really attending the college or not really.
Well, and then the president recently, had an initiative to give you $10,000. I think it was $10,000 off of your college debt, to forgive $10,000 of that debt. Why don't we make the debt less in the first place? Let's make education less expensive so that you don't have to go to those types of remedies. And that's all tied up in the courts right now. And maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. Let's reduce the college costs in the first place. Let's reduce the problem in the first place. It's like we have all these issues right now. Silicon Valley Bank, got in over its head because it invested in US Treasury bonds that were too long-term, and the interest rates went up and sort of made those treasuries worth less. So they ended up in a financial pickle because of that. And why are the interest rates going up? Because they're trying to reduce inflation. And why did inflation go up? Because they did too much quantitative easing in the years prior to that. And why did they do quantitative easing? Because the government didn't balance its budget. The US government didn't balance its budget. So it was printing money out of thin air to pay off its debts, to pay for its debts, to finance its debts. Well, why don't we balance the budget in the first place so that you don't have to do that, so that you don't have to do the quantitative easing, so that you don't have to do the quantitative tightening afterwards to reduce inflation that gets people in such a problem. And so, let's fix these problems before they occur. And then we don't have to deal with them in these really bad ways afterwards. That's what we're going through right now. So that's government. And, maybe if we had a more educated population, maybe they would vote for leaders who didn't create these problems. So, there's this sort of cycle of all this stuff. But I'd say let's fix the problems when, at the origin of those problems, instead of having to do weird things later on they create other problems when you try to fix them. So
Yeah, I do agree. I think the entire system need to reconstruction. And another really cool news is from VR Scout. There is a Kickstarter campaign which has the AR Dungeons and Dragons game. Yeah, let me share with you the trailer. I feel so excited to just look at this. Let me see if so yes. Okay. Can you hear the sound?
yeah, good.
Multiplayer game. Yeah, I feel really, yeah, I mean like AR, when I play like or download some games, it's very small and just like very quick and it's done. But the AAA scale of the work, it makes me feel excited for those like multiple games. And yeah, so any thoughts about this game?
That's pretty cool. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah,
So,
I wish, they probably need to have another perk for a stand, right? Because imagine you need to do this
Yeah,
and then play. Maybe, you put on the easel or something and you play.
yeah,
Or the huge screen surrounded and people can walk around. I don't know. But it's really good.
yeah, that is pretty cool. There's an interesting technology, it's called, oh, what's it called? Well, what it is you put a flat display on the table and three-dimensional objects pop out of the display.
Mm.
It's called a phantogram.
Yeah.
And that would be sort of an interesting way to do this. And then everyone would be sitting around the table and they would all see the same thing. You'd have to have, it's very interesting. You like that laptop that I showed a few weeks ago, they had the 3D display. You could have a display like that laying flat on the table. In fact, that particular laptop will lay the display down flat. And you'd have to have the eye detection set up for multiple people. Right now, with that laptop. Supposedly the eye detection is set up for one person, but they're working on multiple people. I know that people have been developing that for years. And so it should already be, the technology should already exist. So you could have multiple people sitting around the table, looking at the same display and seeing 3D objects pop out of the table. So that would be sort of interesting. But that's cool. And then you can, it looks like you can go outside and see these huge buildings and stuff like that, right?
I went to GDC and there was a game which is interesting. They build like a physical props, like a Barbie doll, like you know, Barbie dollhouse.
Barbie
Right.
doll. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Barbie dollhouse. And then you wear your AR glass and you look at all these places and you can have a joystick you can play. It's like a physical, it's like the registration in physical place, but it's kind of mixed reality. So you can jump, you can play. It's kind of like a physical build, but there's a game building on top of that house. So it's like a real and virtual mixed
Interesting.
through AR glass. So yeah, I think those types of interesting entertainment will kind of enhance. I would say VR or metaverse or those types of virtual world. It starts with, for example, like this morning I saw my friend. He is getting the surgery for become a Cyberman, right? That
Right.
one, and also like those games, mix virtual and real, and also AI, kind of like a, you know, we are part of this technology. We will embrace it and become part of it.
Sort of an interesting sidebar here. I heard that I think yesterday or the day before that now perhaps Apple is pushing back its headset a little bit further. They just announced they're going to have their Worldwide Developers Conference, Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference on June 5th through June 9th, I believe, of this year. And it had been speculated that they were going to announce the headset then, formally announce it, but who knows? It may be pushed back beyond that. I think it's getting to the point where if you keep pushing it back, I mean, I guess there's some sort of production problems or something. If you keep
I
pushing,
think imposter syndrome, perfectionists will never get things done. You just have to release it and people criticize it. That's it.
yeah. I mean, it's getting to the point where they're sort of coming to the party too late. So, and at that
Yeah.
price point, I wonder if, they say it's going to be for developers of what? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, it'll be interesting. The Worldwide Developer Conference is going to be online again this year. They will have one day where you can go in physically and, see various things. They said it's free for developers. So I think what that means is if you're part of the Apple Developers Program, which as I recall, is $98 a year or something like that. Yeah, then maybe it's free if you're signed up for the developers program and not free otherwise. But that's great that they're having it online and it's essentially free. And so I will be attending that. So it'll be interesting. I just we'll see when they come out with the headset, if they ever come out with it.
You see, like when I click Apple Reality Pro, you see it's not even showing anything. So
What are you in right now? Are you on? You're in an article. Okay.
yeah, right. So yeah, WWDC 2023.
Yeah.
I mean, when I see everything they are showing, it's kind of the same thing. The phone becomes camera, right? It becomes like better and better taking photos and videos. I think the Apple Reality Pro, everyone is looking forward to it. They make the expectation too high and people might disappoint it. That's just...
Oh, by the way, I did some research into what does it take to run Stable Diffusion locally? So, that's one of these models, the generative image model. And there was some testing. I don't know if it was Ars Technica. It's one of those technical magazines. Unfortunately, I don't have the article set up on my computer right now, but for the RTX NVIDIA video cards that are coming out, the 4000 series, it runs pretty darn good. On a 4090, for example, it runs about as fast as you're going to get. And then for the other high-end NVIDIA graphics cards, it runs pretty well, the RTX cards. For the AMD cards, the latest AMD cards that are going to be out, it runs pretty well, not quite as fast as the NVIDIA. You have to have a version of the software that's optimized for those cards, for the AMD cards. And then if you just want to run it on the Intel processors with their integrated graphics, it's really slow. So I wondered, what about the Apple Silicon? How does it run on that? If I plan on buying an Apple Silicon MacBook Pro, is it going to run on that? Is it going to run well on that? And people have just started running it on that. Apple just recently made some changes to their APIs and so forth so that it would run better on that. And I haven't seen the benchmarks yet. I saw some scattered user reports that it was running okay on those. So hopefully it will run well on that, because the Apple Silicon is designed to run machine learning models and so forth. So hopefully it'll run on that. Hopefully it'll run well on that.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's another interesting area that's coming out. I'm sure it will be covered in the Worldwide Developers Conference.
Yeah.
So many things going on, so many changes occurring so quickly.
Yeah. Another very quick news is that Italian regulation is like a ban OpenAI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Italy, regulators in Italy have ordered San Francisco-based artificial intelligence company OpenAI to stop processing Italian citizens' data or face a fine. Yeah,
That's very interesting. Well, in fact, one of the things that the NVIDIA and Adobe Alliance proposed was a tag, for example, to not process your images. So you could do something similar with processing people's data, as you could have a tag that said, don't process my data. Or maybe you could have something like a tag that would allow you to opt in if you're getting paid to allow them to process your data. But you're seeing all these legal things starting to crop up. This is
Yeah,
interesting. How do you ban it though?
I don't know. Yeah, and how do you know this data is from Italy or not?
Yeah,
And what if someone has dual nationality, like American Italian or something? Part of them can be accessed.
the legal system is just not set up yet to figure this all out. The infrastructure is not in place. But they're working.
Yeah.
I guess
Cool.
if we have this moratorium on AI development, are you allowed to develop these infrastructures? I don't know. There's all these impossible questions that crop up around all this stuff.
Yeah. So this is, I think every week we have a lot of things to learn and a lot of things to see, and we just share. And thank you so much for everybody joining. And
Dom, I just wanted to ask, when you stop recording, could I talk to you for a little bit afterwards?
oh yeah. Let's do it. Okay, cool. Let me stop recording.